is where the Hebrew home is. For where the heart is, that's where you find the Hebrew home. Hebrew home, Hebrew home. Good morning, Hebrew home. My home, my heart is where the Hebrew home is. For where the heart is, that's where you find the Hebrew home.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Good Morning Hebrew Home and Wendy Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, November 11th. It's Veterans Day, which is a federal holiday annually observed on this day to honor military veterans. And it is my honor to have a veteran here with us in studio today. I'm joined by Mr. Irving Liebowitz. Irving is a resident of RiverWalk. Welcome, Irving.
Good morning. How are you?
Great to see you. I got to know Irving pretty recently, got to learn about Irving and his story, which he's going to share with us today. Irving is a veteran of the Korean War, and we're really so honored to have him here today on this Veterans Day. So we will get to our chat with you, Irving, in just a few moments. We're going to get to some housekeeping matters today, which we always begin our show with the weather. It's not too bad right now. I would say if you're going to venture out, you should do it this morning, because I think by around 3 or 4 p.m., we're going to have a lot of rain heading our way. But the weather, it's pretty mild outside. They say it's going to be a high of 72 today. So do try to get outside and enjoy it before the rain starts. I do have here, you may see this jar. We didn't do a giveaway last week, so I'm hoping that we can do a giveaway this week with some call-ins. So give us a call at, let's see, 1526. 1526. These are some lovely hand sanitizers. So you have to guess how many hand sanitizers are in the jar, and whoever gets the closest without going over can enjoy these hand sanitizers. I will hand deliver them after the show. So take a look. Hand sanitizers are always handy, right? We got to always keep our hands clean these days, right? So let us know what you think. How many hand sanitizers are in the jar? Olivia is going to record for us how many guesses that we get. Okay, so remember, all you have to do is just pick up your phone, dial 1526, 1526, and these sanitizers can be yours. Okay, so let's get to some food, my favorite topic. Lunch, hamburger on a bun with French fries and homemade coleslaw with fresh watermelon for dessert. Sounds good. For dinner, we're serving cream of spinach soup with an eggplant ball and penne alla vodka with strawberry applesauce for dessert. So enjoy your meals today. For birthdays, we do have several resident and staff birthdays. We have Donna S. and Jorge Q. from our resident community celebrating today. And we have several staff birthdays. We have Denise from nursing, Zoltan from engineering, Barbara from nursing administration. They're all celebrating birthdays. Birthdays of notable individuals: Leonardo DiCaprio, terrific actor, I'm a fan. Demi Moore, Stanley Tucci. Stanley Tucci is such a great actor. I love seeing him in one of my favorite movies is Devil Wears Prada. It's such a fun, lighthearted movie, and he's great in that. He was in The Hunger Games. And Kurt Vonnegut, it was his birthday today as well. If you're celebrating, your birthday horoscope says that you should work steadily towards your long-term goal and don't let minor setbacks have an effect on your efforts. A deeper part of you can sense that a major breakthrough is just around the next corner. So keep moving forward and don't fear the future. So that's a pretty good horoscope. So happy birthday to all who are celebrating. So let's chat with Irving now. Irving, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's our honor on this Veterans Day. Very appropriate to have you in studio. Why don't you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, where you're from originally, where you raised your family, and then we'll get into your service.
Sure. Okay. Born and bred in Brooklyn, New York. At the time, it was the home of the Brooklyn Dodgers, and they moved to L.A. But They're sort of still my Dodgers. And when I got out of the Army, my wife, Claire, and I got married in June 6th. Very auspicious day. June 6th was the landing of on Normandy of the Allies.
Right.
I remember it was such a hot day. It was, well, June is usually hot, but this, I think, was the hottest of all Junes. We rented a small apartment in Brooklyn, of course, until we knew that it was time to move on, and we moved to Valley Stream and started our family, and stayed there for till our third child was born, and decided the house was too small. We went shopping and found our permanent place of living in Merrick, Long Island, a regular detached 4-bedroom house, a beautiful place. And Merrick was a beautiful, and still is a beautiful place.
And that's where you raised your family.
And that's where we raised our family.
And a shout out to your 3 kids, Jill, and your boys' names.
My oldest daughter is Lois.
Oh, Lois. Okay.
She's married and has 2 beautiful children living in Israel, in Jerusalem.
Oh, my.
In fact, her oldest daughter today is serving in the Israeli army.
Wow.
In Israel at 18, boys or girls, they all are
Yes.
must serve a certain amount of time in the army.
Yeah.
My daughter Lois is a very successful marketer for several companies in New York City and lived in New York City. My daughter Jill, who is our second child, lives in New Rochelle, which is very close to where we are now. Maybe a 15, 20-minute ride.
Nice.
And she has 3 children. All of them are successful in their educational endeavors.
Yeah.
And my youngest is a son, Jeffrey, who is now retired and living with his wife in Arizona. People always ask me, where in Arizona? So I said, well, if you drive an hour south to Phoenix, it's there. I can never remember the name of the town. It's some sort of maybe Indian or something like that.
You sound like you're very proud of your kids.
Thank you.
So tell us about your story about your days of service.
Well, in 1951, I received my notice from the United States Army that I've been drafted, and I went through the procedure of going to New York City to I think it was Whitehall Street at that time. I don't know where it is today, but it doesn't matter. And there I got examined and went through many different tests, which they from that decided where I would fit best, and that of course wouldn't take place until after basic training. I then went back home for a period of time until they sent me official notice that I have to report to Camp Kilmer in New Jersey, which is a lead-off point to Fort Dix, where I took my basic training. The basic training was 13 weeks. Some of it was learning how to put and take apart a rifle and clean it. Some of it was a lecture on that was called $1 million pencil, referring to the fact that if I would be doing work in an office, I should leave the pencil and pen there and not take it home.
Oh, yeah.
And some was out in the field. Every morning, of course, after reveille and lining up outside of the barracks, there was exercises and punishment if we didn't do the exercises correctly, as you've seen in some movies. Say, okay, you do 20 laps around the field.
So did that really happen? Those things that you see in the movies?
Never happened to me, thank goodness.
But other people. Okay.
And the last week of basic training was a week out in the field under simulated conditions, far from real, but still simulated. It's in the middle of August and in Fort Dix, and someone asked me after a while, it was that 1 week was over, and they asked me how was Fort Dix in August, and I said, well, I really didn't compare it to anything that I've ever witnessed before, but if hell was number one, Fort Dix had to be number two.
Oh, my.
But on return from that 1 week to our barracks, my commanding officer, my CO, he saw me and he said, you go to the hospital right now, you've got some sort of a disease, and if our company, if it's contagious and our company gets that disease, they may scratch our trip to, or our assignment to Korea.
Okay.
And I was in the hospital for over a week. My outfit left. I did not go with them.
Okay.
Instead, I was sent to France as an individual. I didn't go with a company or anything like that, and was stationed at a distribution center in it was very close to a city called La Rochelle. Unbelievable that it should have fell out that way. And this distribution center was supplying our NATO allies with everything they needed to be on the front line. Because a lot of people don't know this, but the men on the front line are supported by 17 other men doing other jobs so that they could do their fighting.
On the front lines.
Right.
And how long were you?
I served 2 years.
Okay.
In France. It was, being in the Army and not being on the front lines, it must be different because I didn't experience any kind of fighting, actually. But still, it's a way.
Absolutely.
And it's 2 years of my life.
Absolutely. So tell us about what's going to happen today down by the flagpole.
When I got here at the Hebrew home, after I had been at Schaefer Rehab Center in New Rochelle, I noticed after a while that a flag, the United States flag, was flying very close to the corner of the property, but without a POW MIA flag. Now a lot of commercial properties, and I consider, although this is not a commercial facility, it's still commercial to a certain extent.
Yep.
That it didn't have a POW MIA flag. POW means prisoner of war, and MIA means missing in action.
Right.
And those veterans, they're all not accounted for. And this is a remembrance for us here, no matter how close we were to them or how, not even knowing many of them, we should recognize them and remember them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to be doing that today, right after the show at 11. Tell me, so you wear your veteran hat pretty much every day. Why is that such an important thing for you to share with everyone that you are a Korean War veteran?
It's a hat that says Korea on it.
Right.
Korea was known as the unknown war, which it was. Why was the United States in Korea? We did not declare war on either of the Koreas, but being a member of the UN, it was our obligation to follow their instructions to protect South Korea because North Korea was the aggressor. So it wasn't like Pearl Harbor, where we were attacked by the Japanese in the early morning hours. It just, what were we doing there?
Right.
So that's one of the reasons. The other reason was that I wanted people to know that I'm a veteran.
Absolutely.
And I belong to a Jewish war veterans post in Merrick, Long Island. A friend of mine got me to become a member. This friend of mine happened also to have been in the Army the same time I was, and stationed at the same place near La Rochelle in France. Mm-hmm. It was very coincidental, and he got me to join. And from there, I realized that there were veterans there from the Second World War. They were in their 90s. Right. When I just recently saw, there are veterans from the Second World War who are living here.
Yes.
At RiverWalk.
Yeah, yeah.
I know.
Okay, Irving, so we're going to have to wrap up our show because that's all the time that we have, but it was an absolute pleasure chatting with you, and we thank you for your service and your dedication to this country, and it's just an honor to know you, and we're looking forward to our 11 o'clock flag raising with you momentarily. So thank you so much for being here.
Okay, thank you very much.
Before we leave, just a very quick programming note. Rabbi Noah's got a great program coming up at 11:15. I believe it's a post-election conversation, and that's really interesting because in many households we've got Democrats, Republicans, a lot of different emotions happening. So check that out. We also have Larry coming on later at 2:30. We've got Deborah with wellness, the usual routine. So please join us for all these programs, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.
Hebrew home, good morning, Hebrew home. My heart is where the Hebrew home is. For where the heart is, that's where you find the Hebrew